Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 76 of of Manifesting with Meg. My goodness, I have been doing so many different books this week. I'm a little discombobulated. Anyway, conversations with extraordinary people, and today I have the extraordinary author, Sophia Kouidou-Giles. Yes, as I say it right, correct?
Koudiou-Giles.
Koudiou-Giles. I have to say it properly because that is the proper Greek. Koudiou-Giles. So I have her, and I have her amazing book, Sophia's Return. I can't wait to introduce all of you guys to this amazing book, and you guys are going to want to buy a copy yourself. Denise is Bert here, yes, from Wild Stage. She's an amazing book person, and we love that you're here. Thank you for supporting us tonight. And Sophia, I think this is your first interview tonight, correct?
It certainly is.
And we're going live, so you're being daring with me, and I love that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is September.
Thank you.
It's the month of sweet inspiration. Our theme tonight is free to choose which illusion to believe. That's very powerful because there are so many you can choose from. Might as well figure out the one that shows you the most success and go with that, right, Sophia?
That's right. That's
She
right.
is not only my She Writes Press sister and pub date sister. We just celebrated our launch last Tuesday, 9/7/21. Happy to say our book babies are 1 week old and they're doing just fine out there in the world. So we always encourage you to go jump on into another storyteller's imagination and experience now Spain on my end and also the Italian side. And we have Greek on Sophia's end. Greece is a wonderful place. I'm so excited to play with that. She's going to read us something from her book about the beautiful country that she comes from. But before I begin, this is the show about transformation, inspiration, dreams, true happiness, discovering bliss. It's time to manifest the life of our dreams. You're just steps away from living that life you desire. Time to wake up to the universe packed with possibility. So before I begin, hang on one second. Denise is saying, Sophia, it's so wonderful to hear your beautiful voice all the way from Greece. Actually, you're in Seattle tonight, correct?
That's right.
Right,
Yes, Seattle, Washington.
But if anyone is here watching from Greece, she has a lot of fans over there. So we do shout out to you and to Denise and to Suzanne, who's saying congratulations, Sophia. This is an auspicious night for any author to get on here and share their dream come true. And I certainly invite all of you to ask questions while we're discussing tonight. I want to go back to my intentional portion of the show. I always say to my authors, please share your intention at the end of the show. You're going to pick a magical number and then we're going to talk about it. This show is based upon my first book, The Magical Guide to Bliss. It's 366 insights of the day and it takes us through the year. Like I said, this is September, the month of sweet inspiration. So away we go as I introduce the beautiful Sophia. She was born in Thessaloniki, Greece, and a university educated in the United States. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in social work. In her long career in child welfare, she served as a practitioner, educator, researcher, and administrator. Koudiou-Giles, you're going to have to say it for me later again, but has published articles in Greek and English professional journals with a focus on services to abused, neglected children. More recently, her focus has shifted to writing nonfiction like we have here and also poetry. How fantastic. You can tell when you read her that she is a poet at her heart. Her work has appeared in Voices, Persimmon Tree, Assay, The Raven's Perch, the Time Collection, the Blue Nib, where she has a byline, and the Writers and Readers magazine. Her poetry chapbook is Transitions and Passages, and her memoir that we're celebrating tonight was once Returned to Thessaloniki, was published in Greece in 2019. Now we have the beautiful Sophia's Return, and she currently lives in Washington. Welcome, Sophia. I'm so happy to see you. Carolyn Arnold is saying congratulations. This is an incredible feat. Not only did you write it in English, which is your second language, that it's so well done and so beautifully in your prose. And I just want to say congratulations. And I'm so honored to celebrate this book birthday with you today. So how are you tonight?
I am fine, Meg. Excited to be talking with you tonight and grateful that there is people that are listening to your wonderful program.
Well, I'm a big fan of the notion that when you have something wonderful to say, your audience will find you. And at this point in time, it must be an amazing audience, because clearly, birds of a feather flock together. So I would like to say a big shout out to those that are here too. Thank you so much. It is wonderful when you actually put out your work into the world to be supported and kind. I want to say, how has your week been? I just need to go back to that, because I know that I'm so tired, and I can only imagine how you're feeling as well.
I tell you, it's like flying every day. It's so exciting to be birthing a book to the world.
So
And
excited.
to get messages and comments from people. It's just exhilarating.
I have to match that notion. It's a whirlwind, a roller coaster, if you may, right?
Yeah.
Highs and lows. And you're like, whoa. Then it's like, oh my God, will this thing ever end? But you don't want it to end, because that's the whole point of putting it out there, is that that's the gift that you give to other people, and actually persevering so that you may finally write that last word and then get into the world. So I would like to start off the show tonight, because I always start with my theme, and tonight is freedom to choose which illusion to believe. And the quote that we base this theme on is, "There's no room for shame or regret in my life. I'm too full, I'm too forgiven, too adored, too fully loved, too full of ideas and dreams and passion to waste my precious life pretending to be crippled by something that is imaginary, like shame. Shame is illusion. It disappears so easily." That's Glennon Doyle. So, it goes into the whole idea behind this particular quote. Why do we punish ourselves over and over for something that had happened and cannot be changed? And I'd like to point out to our stories as well, a lot of things in our lives we can't change. We have to accept and take the lesson and move on. What is done is done. Now is the time of acceptance. When you realize that continuous shame or regret serves no purpose in your life, then you're free to hold your head up high as the beauty of your personal journey unfolds, which has, and you have done such a wonderful job in Sophia's return. If all things are an illusion, then choose one in which you are emboldened by the lessons learned and excited by your story. Then hold on as you prepare to feel your spirit soar. So instead of the roller coaster, we're going to soar tonight together. So what are your thoughts on this at the outset, Sophia?
My belief is that we do live with illusions, but we can choose what illusions we live in. And we can make them obstacles for tomorrow, or we can make them enhancers for tomorrow. It is a choice, and it's more important to choose carefully what we focus on.
Yeah.
Focus on important things, on things that move us forward and don't drag us down. So that's the kind of illusion I want to live in.
Sign me up to that. I'll take it any day of the week. And I want to say, when we met, I found you not in She Writes Press Group, but I found you in the binders of memoirs, memoirists. Right. And I was like, oh, and it's, what I can say when someone's illusion is one of empowerment and emboldened and, just a bright light in the world. I found you. I was like, oh, look at you.
You did. You certainly did.
Exactly. So I reached out to you and we connected that way. And I'm so grateful that we did, because not only, do we have books that, were born on the same day, but also, this journey that we get to all walk together and bring us into the fold so that we can all celebrate that wonderful illusion that you just spoke to. So now I get to share with the world this overall author journey of yours so far, because the illusion that you chose was to take something that was really challenging and painful in your life and turn it into something, not an obstacle, but something that's really beautiful to be shared with the world. So, what inspired you to write Sophia's Return? Tell us all about that so we get a good idea.
Well, I started right after I resigned from social services and went into my retirement. I had more time to think about things and consider what was left unanswered in my past. So I started traveling back home, and I wanted to learn more about my family. That was the first thing. Where did they come from? What was their story? Because our parents' stories really affect and impact our lives.
Absolutely.
It so happened that I was able to travel to where they had grown up. My father's family was unique. They were from Turkey, but they were Greeks from Turkey.
Okay.
And they had to leave that country because there was a historical period that was very challenging for Greeks. So they settled in Salonika, and I got to go to Turkey and visit Istanbul. And as I was learning about my grandparents and great-grandparents, some questions started rising in my head about my own background.
Mm.
There was one question that didn't make much sense to me. So I started pressing everybody, my relatives and my friends, what do you know about this? And all of that sort of thing. The main question was, my parents were divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up with my father's family, which was unusual.
Yeah.
Of course, the whole time frame was unusual because there were no divorces before that. It was a brand new phenomenon.
Yeah.
It was post-World War, and people were starting to figure out, well, what am I going to do? Lives were settled, hope was up, and they were settling their affairs. So that's what started me. That was about 3 years into retirement when I thought, this sounds like a story. I'm going to start taking classes and figuring out how to do this.
Yeah.
Because up until then, I was in social services. It was clinical writing, very dry, very different. And thank goodness for all those bright stars, our teachers,
Yeah, I agree.
that took us step by step on how to construct outlines and chronologies and all that. So that's the beginning. That's when I started, about 3 years into retirement, to write and draft and redraft and redraft. Many drafts later, 9 years later, that book saw the light of day in Greek and in Greece. So it was an equally touching day. It really reminds me of our week, where I would have the launch events and run into friends and family and all that excitement. But I have lived in this country for a long time. It's my second home. And I just felt compelled to produce it in English. And I was lucky to meet She Writes Press and people like you, this wonderful team, and share it. And it feels good sharing it with friends.
Well, Suzanne Simonetti is saying what a great addition that you are, your perspective and your unique story to our cohort for She Writes Press. And Linda Sullivan's also saying she agrees with Suzanne. So the feeling is definitely mutual, Sophia. And that's one of the most beautiful thing about sharing your story is that you meet on a different plane with other people and they become really interested because you do that vulnerable thing by reaching out to others from a place of your own curiosity, which I think is fantastic. And I think that comes out through this particular book. So, when you started investigating the story and, you started to write it, when you actually sat down to start to write it, how long did it take you from, I know that this is the second rendition because the first one you did was in Greek. This is your second rendition in English. So tell me, how long did it take you? And were parts of it changed from the original Greek?
Yes. It took about 1.5 to 2 years to complete it in English. And what I found is that certain things that were well known to Greeks, I had to explain for this audience, like I could talk about a parliament episode in Greece. Who cares? When I referred to Kennedy visiting Berlin, then people could relate with that.
Yeah.
So there were some adaptations and adjustments and some chapters that I added to the English version. You have to think of who your readers are, right? We are about communicating. So that's what made the difference between the two.
I think that your point right there is we're about communicating, right? And I think that certainly your intention for writing the book is really kind of poignant at this point because when we think about our readers and why they would want to pick up our books and delve into our lives, you have to get back to a point of your why. So what was your initial intention to share this at all?
I'm sorry, tell me again.
What was your initial intention to share this book with the world?
Well, one thing that was obvious to me is that families are similar in many ways. It doesn't matter what part of the world we live in. Divorce happens everywhere, you know. It was new then, but the dynamics of being a child or a parent of divorced situations are very parallel. So I felt that sharing my experience might give people a place to reflect about their own situation and maybe learn from what happened with my folks.
Yeah,
That was one intention. Another one was I wanted to tell people, if you have a question, there is 1,000 ways to answer it. And if you mean to make it a point for your life and your understanding of your life, go for it.
I like
Go
that.
for it. There is always another way to get your answers.
And you obviously, well, no one, I don't want to give anything away, but to get your answers, you had to knock on a lot of doors, and
Yes.
you had a lot of stops and starts from the book. So you had a definite perseverance, a never give up mentality when you were investigating the story at the outset. And certainly everyone will get a piece of that when they're reading the book. But memoir, you didn't make this a fiction. You wrote this as a memoir. This is your life. This is about what happened to you. So how did that feel, especially because you are a poet as well? So this is a different, genre for you.
Well, I had my script. I didn't have to create a script. Okay. So it was trying to express the emotional truth of the moment. That's how I focused. And really, when I was writing it, it was a very personal piece. I was not thinking about my audience as much. It was in redrafts that I tried to address that more. So the style of writing maybe has a touch of poetry in it. I don't know. Yeah. The readers can judge it and tell me if they see that. But it was important to tell. So that was the pressing thing. It had to get out.
So I would love for you to do the honors of reading us a piece of that beautiful story that brings to life the land that you're from, Greece, and certainly the experience that the character Sophia yourself finds herself in at the beginning. So if you would do us that honor, I would love to hear it, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, Greece is a beautiful place. I just love going back there and touching it and breathing it. And what I'm going to read you is a little segment that talks about the era my parents met each other and the atmosphere of the place. So my parents found each other in the typical fashion of the day. Theirs was an arranged marriage. It was the way most young people of the day were wed in the mid-20th century Greece. And they were like all these couples introduced by a matchmaker. Mm-hmm. At the time, the end of World War II was in sight, and people's hopes for a peaceful life, they were revived. They were hoping, looking forward. So in 1943, my parents went to the Greek Orthodox Church in Thessaloniki, that's the city I'm from, and married. Only 3 years later, I was born during another challenging time. Between 46 and 49, the Greek resistance, they had countered Italians and Germans that were occupying Greece. But now they were politicized and they started fighting with each other. That's what was going on in the countryside. In our safe neighborhood universe, all that was unfolding did not touch our daily routines. Carrying me in her arms, my mother visited daily Mrs. Katina, a heavyweight, wide-hipped woman with long black hair. Our neighbors lived 2 houses over, and she was my wet nurse.
Ah, huh.
She had delivered her daughter just days after I was born. My mother would take me to Mrs. Katina's ample breasts, perhaps because her milk had not come in, or perhaps because it was fashionable. Not that it really mattered. The 2 women would sit and chat while I was feeding, and they enjoyed each other's company. And later on, Sula, her daughter, and I became very good friends. Everyone called us sisters of the same milk.
Oh, that's so cool.
During all those years, my family lived on that 25th of March household, my childhood home, and the 2 of us spent endless hours playing together. It was a friendly neighborhood where my father's 2 sisters lived very close. People met in their backyards and left their front doors unlocked. Women carried on quick conversations during the day across fences, and occasionally they took breaks and drank their cup of coffee with some cold water.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Just a
That's
little
so,
sketch.
Leslie says fascinating. It's so true. And congratulations. That's just a piece of the beautiful prose that she speaks to in her book. And I do encourage all of you to follow that story, to buy your own book, because I think it's really important. Not only, I don't know, I love to feel the book in my hands. I'm lucky enough I have it myself, but just to sit there and be with those words and understand another person's culture. And what you said, maybe because it's fashionable, maybe because her milk didn't come in, but this is a part of your story, the engagement and connections of people. We connect in different ways. And Linda's saying she liked sisters of the same milk. We are sisters of the same press. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I wanna ask you, so now that your memoir is out there, how do you hope that it changes the world?
Well, I hope that people that have had experiences of divorce and children that are caught in the midst of that are a little more thoughtful about how they approach it. They think about age-appropriate conversations so that these changes, these major changes in life, are not a secret. They are not hidden. There is a good communication, a good, clear arrangement about how life is going to go on. So that was a big desire that I have, to increase awareness and to, help adults think about a child's point of view.
I love that. And one of the things that I really like to embrace as well is what inspires you. So of course I always ask for my insightful quotes to share with the audience today from the intention of this wonderful published author. So today we're going to start off with, hang on a second, here we go. One of the quotes that she gave me, and this is beautiful Greece in the background, so we use the actual photo of Greece, so it enticed everyone to want to visit that beautiful country. So often in life, things that you regard as an impediment turn out to be great good fortune. And Denise Bird is saying, this is so fascinating. You draw me right in, Sophia. I'm intrigued. Thank you for sharing. So tell me a little bit about that quote.
Well, think about my story and the fact that I wound up in social services.
Yes.
I served for 30-some years, dealing a lot with children and families. Mm-hmm. So that was a gift that I was given out of my own experience. And I think we all have that resource to turn something that may be seemingly an obstacle into an opportunity to grow and give.
And from your book itself, we have this beautiful quote. I'm sorry, not from your book. This is from Socrates. Oh my goodness. Know thyself. So what does this mean for you? And how does this speak to you?
Self-examination is part of growth, part of maturity. I know I wouldn't have looked at myself the same way when I was 20.
Yeah.
But every age has things to reveal. It's like an onion, and we peel it and we open up to the world, and we are more giving.
I love it. I think that that is more beautiful when you know yourself and you're more confident to be able to give from a full cup, because that is where we all will thrive together. So I want to also point out that, oh, she loves this quote. Suzanne loves this quote, and she reads to this a lot. You know, I have to say the other quotes that we have tonight, we are even more special because they come from you. And the first one we have is, it's all in how you frame it. An obstacle to overcome, a challenge to meet, or step toward victory. What does this mean to you? Amazing, amazing, amazing.
It's going back to where we started talking about illusions. We
Mm,
create our direction, our choices, and how we want to proceed. It's all
yeah,
about that.
I
Do
love
we
it.
want to see it as a stopper or as a motivator to move on?
I love it. And even Linda is saying, Sophia, the topic of family navigation and communicating with children about divorce is also her wheelhouse. So they find similarities when authors express themselves. You find people, and collaboration is always at the helm, you know, and how you champion children from a place of being the wounded child yourself. And it goes on, above the clouds is sunshine. Your other is, life is short. It has been given to us to claim and to grow. The only way to fly is to spread your wings. One of the keys to success is perseverance. Speak to these as well for me.
Wow. Let's see. Don't we know when we hear and look at Meg, we know that there is sunshine above the clouds. A living example.
You're awesome. Oh my goodness. You're awesome.
Very
Yeah.
true. Now, my screen is very small, so I can't see.
So I'll start it. Life is short. It has been given to us to claim and to grow. Tell us about that.
We have a limited time on this earth. We are not here like the Olympian gods thought they were forever.
I love that.
So every moment matters and every choice matters. And that is the message I'm trying to give with that one.
I love that. And then we have, the only way to fly is to spread your wings. Ah, you know I'm going to love that one for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
Yes, life comes with risks, and we just delve right in there and move on. Yes.
You know, sometimes it feels like you're being pushed off the cliff, so that at least you could try to see whether the wings will actually pop up or not, right? So whether you do fly. And ultimately, as you are flying down or going down very quick, you know, and there's no parachute, you're going to start to try to figure out, hopefully, you know, what you need to do to spread your wings to fly. And then our last one of the keys to success is persistence, which I am a sister in this with you. Absolutely. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, there is a time to give up and refocus and move, but it's all about going after what your passion is and what your goals are. That is what keeps us active, alive, engaged, and giving.
I love it. Well, you know, I think that to that point, and I will say that for anybody who is an author, published author, you have to be passionate to sit there every, you know, how many days a week, you know, if you're a 7-day a week writer, I don't know your process, perhaps you can share that with us, but it takes persistence. There are some bad days and some good days, but you really need to sit down and do it. So tell me, how was your writing process as you were coming up with the story to articulate and share with others so that we could get to where we are, whether we have a beautiful book now?
You know, I don't have a set routine. I do write every day. I do. But I'm kind of a nomad. I may be typing on my cell phone. I may be in bed, an idea comes up, I grab a piece of paper,
Love it.
I collect things, and then there may be a point where I sit at the desk and organize all this material. I find that writing is all about catching that bird as it flies by. And
I like
it could
that.
be a dream at night that gives you the message, or it could be a conversation with somebody else. When it happens, you got to grab it.
Well, clearly, I'm going to that point, clearly you said it. So you must have had experiences where you had a dream at night where you were able to capture the essence of some of your story. Can you speak to that?
You will see some of those dreams in the book and at crucial times.
Yeah.
And they all had a message. I'm not going to tell you the dreams right now, but they are messengers. In ancient days, they even have gods dedicated to the dreams.
Love
And
it.
Apollo had a big chunk of that responsibility to deliver meaningful dreams.
Apollo, the
God of the sun, God of music, God of creativity, wonderful God, bright.
I'm going to thank you for bringing Apollo to this conversation because I think we just leveled up manifesting with Meg to another level of extraordinary at this point. If we're talking Apollo, which I love all the mythology, I am fascinated by the stories that were created or legends, the legends that we build our lives on. So welcome Apollo to Sophia's big, wonderful book conversation with extraordinary Sophia. I could not think of a better person to join us, the God of the Sun, and also the messenger of dreams. So I think it's really poignant, and then Suzanne's saying it as well, very powerful to pay attention to those dreams because in it comes so much that we can learn from our lives. So, when you come to your next part of your journey, like what do you say to yourself? What's next? I mean, right now I have to tell you, like, if someone tells me what's next, I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I'm so tired. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. This is crazy. I just want to celebrate this for a bit so I don't have to like worry about, oh God, what's next? But tell me about from you, because I know that other people are, playing around with wonderful ideas as well. And certainly you are a poet, so you have already published that content as well.
Well, now speaking of Apollo, I'm playing with mythology, taking some Greek myths and reconstructing stories that have parallel to our lives. They are such archetypal stories. They hold a lot of meaning. They never age. So that's what I'm up to.
I absolutely love that you were saying that, because that is definitely another book I'm going to read from yours. And Carolyn, thank you so much. As if manifesting with Meg could be any higher. I appreciate that for sure. One of the points, and I love that it's going right into this as well, is my vision is to engage the extraordinary person, to help others who are listening to engage a spirit of learning instead of following blindly. You embrace a path that will allow you, or each of us, to gain a new perspective through serving others. And I personally think that authors out in the world, and people who support authors out in the world, like Denise Burt and all the wonderful women in our She Writes Press group, they're the ones that help us to give these teachers a entree into the world so that they could read our books and learn something new about themselves. So what do you think this point is true? What do you think is the one thing that moves you forward in your life, that keeps you going at this point?
Well, definitely writing does. Yeah. Definitely writing does. And I love the company of writers. We are such interesting people, the conversations we have, the ideas we share. It's incredible. It's the best company.
It's the best company. I love it. I do. I love it. I love it. For sure.
It's true.
And I also appreciate, not everyone is going to be like this, but the majority of the writers that we meet are very generous, right? We're all generous. Like the exchange of time, right? Our time and how we engage each other and how we open our minds and our hearts to other people's stories as well. And it's that exchange, that beautiful, and I believe karma is a mirror. And I've been saying it all week. A karma is a mirror. You put out in the world, you get back to you. It might not be for the people you give, but it's coming back to you. So with that point, I want to ask you, now it's time to manifest. And I don't want to, like, I certainly, I read your book and I don't want to give anything away, but at the end of the day, I do want to ask you about this. Your experience with a very male dominated family model, right? In your book,
Yes.
how have you been able to, because you become a very, very strong female voice in your writing, right? You speak to that.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, and really, really, because I'm mostly curious, is how have you been able to balance that strong, masculine against the feminine that you didn't necessarily have with your mother's presence constantly, but because you're thriving or you're looking to maintain or survive the memory of her, to bring it to the world?
We have opportunities every minute to show the support among women.
Mm-hmm.
We listen to causes, and gosh, look at the newspapers and the politics of America today. There is many opportunities to take a stance and participate. But also, we have families, we have sons, we have grandsons, granddaughters. We can model and coach and push forward a better balance to the world.
Yeah.
Patriarchy is not working. A sheer matriarchy is not working. So we have a challenge. We really have a serious challenge of finding that point where both can feel whole, satisfied, communicating and moving forward. It's a big challenge.
I find it really interesting. Women tend to be nurturers by, just by nature. It just seems, because we have children, like you said, and even with our sons, I have a son, you have grandsons, you have,
Yes.
you, instead of seeing that as something that you're going to quash down like a matriarch, the austere matriarchy that you speak to, you engage them to a place of that they see a different, that balanced perspective where we all have a different kind of conversation. And I think that was one of the things that I took away from your book as well. And I think that was really, really powerful, that how you placed that concept there as well. So well done, Sophia. Well done. Very well done. And I love that you're saying that now. I think that, women, have, it's interesting because in the corporate world or in the world of authors, whatever, it does seem to me that the old pattern of, women is that there's only so many pieces of the pie. So women have notoriously stepped on other women and not been supported so that they can get that place at the table and be seen. And I find it so much more refreshing when you bring everybody in with you. If I kick my foot in the door, open it, and bring everybody I can to have the conversation with me, because I literally don't want to be the only one talking. However, with regard to your story, let's go back to manifesting, because I'm a big manifester, and I heard tonight really wonderful commentary on the reality of manifesting is basically thanking the universe for what you want as if you already have it. So now I get to speak with you on the rest of 2021. What do you want to prioritize and bring into your world this next couple months at the end of 2021 and into 2022? Can you believe it, right?
I see Suzanne saying we fly together.
And I'm going to stick her up there. We do fly together, my friends. We do.
It's the cohesion, the power, the voice, when it's joined, it's like a chorus over a single voice. It's so much more powerful. So there it is, my sisters and my friends. Let's just join hands and move this world one step forward.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth, back and forth. We need the forward. We need the forward, the healthy, the respectful. way to be with each other.
I love that. I love that. I had the visual when you were speaking. Let's hold each other's hands and walk together. Don't walk in front. Don't walk behind. Let's try to walk together so we could always have a wonderful story that we're telling from this point on. And I'll be Leslie saying that you're a beautiful person, and you definitely are. So with that, I wanted to ask you, how can we act in alignment with this? What are your suggestions for the world to help us act in alignment with this cohesive experience that you're suggesting?
I worked in social services. I'm the kind of person that joins causes. I write postcards, I make phone calls, I go to gatherings, just promoting good vibes for kids, especially.
Yeah.
That is what is fundamental for me. Raising kids to a healthy environment, to a world that is not going to burn out of all this nonsense that sometimes takes off. That's my focus. That's
I love
my
it.
focus. Guardian ad litem at court.
Yeah.
Volunteer to drive them to the hospital. Food, whatever it takes.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think probably Linda, who also works with a lot of the children, is also pointing out that they're not thought of in this process. And that's something that you're saying needs to be addressed, because more people that see the kids, they're going to be growing up to be adults, and they're going to have this experience, and they're going to be wounded adults, or they're going to be empowered adults. And we can really be a part of that story at the early stages. And I love that you're saying that, because it's quite beautiful. So what are the best tools that you use for your manifesting journey, as far as best practices that make you the extraordinary person that you are?
Sometimes it is slowing down and meditating. Sometimes it is acting. It's not one recipe for the day. Every day calls for different challenges, and I just fit what I need to do. The day calls for it. Today, it calls talking with you and appreciating your quick mind and your ability to push the messages even louder out in the world. I really appreciate that, Meg.
I'm honored. Having you on my stage is definitely an honor, and you are a beam of light and inspiration. And as Carolyn says, you are a gift to our cohort. Your book is a gift to our world. I definitely want to show everybody the cover, because it's behind you, but I want everyone to see how beautiful this cover is. And it's Sophia's Return, Uncovering My Mother's Past. How amazing. Now, I want you to tell me what your inspiration was behind the cover, because it makes me so happy. It feels like the Italian Mediterranean. So it feels like La mia famiglia. Yeah, the same for sure. So tell me a little bit about that, because that's really important.
It reminds me of home. Actually, this is a picture from Greece.
Wow.
That's what the port of Thessaloniki looks like, my hometown. The colors, they just make my heart sing when I see this sky. It's Greece. It's Greece. And if you haven't been there, you're missing, folks. You have to go.
I think everyone's going to want to go there after this conversation. At least I do. I'm going to be heading to Italy in December, but I think I might jaunt over to Greece. I don't know.
Hey, hop over.
I had a wonderful, wonderful experience when I was in my program for, I lived in Italy when I was in college, and I went to Greece. I went to Santorini. I went to all the Crete. I went to Crete and saw the ruins. Beautiful, beautiful country. Wonderful, wonderful people. And I definitely want to show this. Denise Burt says, she now has clear eyes and a fuller heart after hearing your beautiful words. You make hearts smile. What a compliment that is. And from a very beautiful person herself. I wanted to go back to the beginning of our conversation tonight when I asked you to set your intention and pick a number from the magical guide. And I want you to tell everybody what your intention was for the conversation tonight, because I like, once again, I like to say I'm very intentional, and I think there's power behind your intention. So go ahead.
How can you say that you want to raise your awareness and to be at a higher place so that your actions reflect a bettering of the self.
I love that.
Because life is a back and forth. We are never flying 100% high. We are never, well, sometimes we feel like we are, but there's also the times where we feel down in the dumps. So I just want to keep my vision high.
Oh, I love that.
That's my main thing.
Beautiful. And what was the number you picked in the Magical Guide to Bliss to correspond to that intention tonight, Sophia?
Pay attention. Your soul is calling.
Ah, I love it. That's wonderful. Can you read for us some of the passages that are profound to you?
Like a bolt of lightning, an event wakes you up and something in you comes alive. You're immediately overwhelmed with a zest and enthusiasm for life that feels like rebirth. Your senses start to respond anew, and a newfound energy is born the moment you believe in things that you never before thought possible. Electricity permeates the air you breathe as potential infuses each cell within. Start to pay attention to the magnitude of this moment as a sign that you are that much closer to your calling. You acknowledge for the first time a journey filled with new possibility. Your soul no longer can be ignored as it triggers your mind and body into action.
Oh, that's beautiful.
More opportunities to grow are introduced to you. More people show up to advise you, and more good feelings infuse your growing spirit. When you honor this calling, your life just feels so right. Your sense of awareness is focused on no longer being afraid to surrender to life as it unfolds. It is that moment when your soul calls to you to connect in love, when you recognize what is important, and when life takes on a meaning that saves you. This is so magical and exciting all at once. When the bolt of lightning hits, answer the call and turn toward what you love.
Ah,
It will save you.
I love it. And Carolyn, what a beautiful writing about your calling. And thank you very much. And Carolyn went to the Greek islands in 2011, has been wanting to return as well. I have to say, listening to you here, listening to you read my words, I might call you and have you actually record the audio because it sounds so melodious.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, sometimes when we hear others read our words, it definitely leaves a profound. And I think that when you do read other people's words and it'll change you. I think you change your life because, like I said at the outset, the vulnerability of your story shared with others has that kind of possibility. And you did that, and that was a success that you've accomplished. Congratulations on your book. Congratulations on your life, because you persevered and you found answers where there were questions, and you kept finding and you kept searching and you kept going for the magic in your life. So before we leave tonight, I would love for you to share final inspiration for everyone who's here and wanting to get more of your wisdom to take with them on this wonderful September evening of sweet inspiration.
Well, let's give the world and our kids a better day tomorrow. Take care of nature, take care of causes that will make their futures richer. Take out the dangers that hover around us.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. I wanna share the screen with the two of our books together. And we encourage all of you that who haven't to support the books, the writers. Once again, to Denise Burt, who's on here. She's an amazing, amazing supporter of authors and an amazing person. And I've never met her in person, but I want to shout out to her. All my She Write Press sisters, you were all amazing. Thank you so much for being here to support Sophia on this wonderful, wonderful evening where we get to talk about her book and how she is, in fact, extraordinary herself. And Linda wants to say, you know, here, Sophia. Thank you, Meg and Sophia. I want you all to remember that it's time to manifest the life of your dreams and live your life with great purpose and passion. And certainly I will put in the feed where we can find Sophia's books. Please, Sophia, give us a link that we can go to. Perhaps you have a web page that they can access. Please spell it out because this goes on Spotify as well.
myname.com is the link. It will take you to the book. My name is spelled SophiaKouidou-Giles.com.
Very good. So that's where you can go to get her book. Thank you, Leslie, for saying that this is a wonderful interview. I have enjoyed it so much. You are a breath of fresh air. And how do you say that in Greece? Or Greek? I'm sorry. Give us some beautiful Greek words to take with us tonight. And the message will follow. I'm sorry, what?
Καθαρός αέρας.
Oh, wow.
Καθαρός ουρανός. Καλοτάξιδος.
Oh my God, I have to learn Greek now. I mean, it's all Greek to me. I'm kidding. But Denise is saying, thank you both for a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, Sophia, for those wonderful words. Wonderful. You are amazing. I'm so glad that we reached out to each other in Binder of Memoirists for sure. Remember that we're all here to be deliberate creators of our lives. Dream big and let's together raise the positive vibrations on this planet so that we all can live out our bliss. Let's love ourselves exactly where we are, reach out to others, and continue to spread the love. And don't forget the children, because literally they are the adults of the future. And if we show them love now, they'll understand that to be the way it is to live on this earth. So we can change the story that is unfolding to one that is better tomorrow, as wonderful Sophia says. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. And we'll see you again soon. Good night.
Amazing Meg.